My boss looked me dead in the eye, adjusted his designer vest, and clapped his hands. Team, we crushed it. Omnicorp is officially on board. And to celebrate this massive multi-million-dollar win, I ordered Papa John's. Everyone get 2 slices. I stood there, the taste of dry crust turning to ash in my mouth, looking past his shoulder into the parking lot. Right there sat his brand new Porsche 911 GT3. He bought it 3 days ago. Meanwhile, my wife and I were counting on my promised $20,000 bonus for a down payment on our first home. He thought he could buy my grueling 14 months of 80-hour weeks with a cheap box of pepperoni pizza. He thought software engineers were just replaceable cogs in his machine. He was wrong. And within 72 hours, I didn't just take my talent elsewhere. I took his entire empire with me. If you've ever sat at your desk, swallowed your pride, and dreamed of serving a cold, flawless dish of absolute justice to a boss who exploited you, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up. Because this is the story of how corporate greed completely backfired. To understand how perfectly this trap was laid, you need to understand where it all started. 3 years ago, I signed on as a senior software engineer at a mid-sized tech startup in Austin, Texas. Let's call them Apex Logics. When I first walked through those doors, the energy was infectious. We were a tight-knit crew of 15 people, grinding out code in a cramped room that smelled like old energy drinks and ambition. I'll admit it, I was severely underpaid for my skill level. But the CEO, a guy we'll call Brad, knew exactly how to dangle the carrot. Brad was the quintessential tech bro caricature. He was in his early 40s, wore a Patagonia vest like a uniform, drove a sleek Tesla, and spoke exclusively in nauseating corporate buzzwords. We're family here, he'd tell us. We're disruptive. We're synergizing the market. But his favorite line? Once our flagship software launches, boys, we are all getting a massive slice of the pie. And boy, did I work for that slice. For 14 agonizing months, I practically lived at the office. My desk became my dining table, my couch, and my prison. I was pulling 70-hour workweeks, pounding stale, bitter coffee at 3 in the morning, and fixing critical bugs that weren't even my responsibility. Your heart rate spikes every time a server blinks. Your eyes burn from staring at monitors for 16 hours straight. But I pushed through the exhaustion because I was building something legendary. I single-handedly re-architected and rewrote our core database pipeline from scratch. And that exact breakthrough landed us the ultimate white whale, Omnicorp. Omnicorp is a multi-billion-dollar global enterprise. Landing them didn't just put Apex Logics on the map, their contract doubled our company's revenue overnight. According to my written contract and Brad's incredibly loud, public verbal promises to the entire team, my quarterly performance bonus for executing this launch flawlessly was slated to be right around $20,000. My wife and I were ecstatic. We sat at our kitchen table that week, looking at Zillow listings, tears in our eyes, realizing we could finally afford a down payment on a house to start our family. The grueling hours, the missed dinners, the exhaustion, it was all going to be worth it. The day after the Omnicorp contract was officially inked, Brad called a mandatory, all-hands meeting. The atmosphere in the conference room was electric. You could practically feel the collective sigh of relief from the engineering team. We were all expecting our hard-earned bonus checks. Brad strutted into the room, grinning ear to ear, practically vibrating with tech bro energy. He clapped his hands together with a sharp smack. Team, we crushed it. Omnicorp is on board. We are officially scaling. And to celebrate this massive win, I ordered Papa John's. Everyone get 2 slices. We all just stood there, staring at each other, waiting for the punchline. Seconds ticked by in agonizing silence. There was no punchline. The grand reward for doubling the company's value was 2 lukewarm slices of basic cheese and pepperoni pizza. Not even stuffed crust. The moment the meeting dissolved, a cold fury washed over me. I walked straight down the hallway, pushed open the heavy glass door to Brad's pristine office, and sat down. Hey, Brad, I said, keeping my voice entirely level. I wanted to follow up on the performance metrics and the $20,000 launch bonus we discussed. Brad's smile instantly vanished. He sighed deeply, leaning back in his ergonomic chair, and put on his well-rehearsed, empathetic leader mask. "Look, man," he said, throwing his hands up defensively. "You're a rock star. Truly. A core pillar of this culture. But you have to look at the macro picture here. We need to aggressively reinvest that capital back into our marketing funnels to truly scale the business. We're all making massive sacrifices right now to get to the next level. I need you to be a team player." As he poured out this stream of corporate garbage, I looked past his shoulder, straight through his massive glass window into the sunny Austin parking lot. Sitting in the executive spot was a pristine, metallic black Porsche 911 GT3. The temporary dealer tags were still taped to the back window. He had bought it literally 3 days prior. The pieces clicked together instantly. The sacrifices weren't being made by management. They were being extracted directly from the blood, sweat, and broken backs of the engineers. I felt a sudden, profound sense of clarity. In corporate America, loyalty is a trap designed to keep you compliant. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam his door. I just looked at him, forced a polite, pleasant smile, and said, "I completely understand, Brad. I'll be a team player." I walked out of his office. I wasn't going to crawl into a corner and cry about it. I was going to get even. See, in his infinite brilliance as a visionary leader, Brad had made 2 fatal, catastrophic mistakes. First, he knew absolutely nothing about actual software architecture, cloud infrastructure, or coding. To him, software was just magic juice that lived in the sky. Second, in his rush to onboard talent cheaply, he completely forgot to have me sign a non-compete agreement. Even if he had, Texas courts barely enforced them anyway, but he didn't even have a basic one in my file. But here was the real golden ticket. Because I had built the entire OmniCorp integration completely from scratch, by myself, I was the only human being alive who knew how to maintain it. During the high-pressure testing phase months ago, I had registered and hosted the custom-built API data pipelines under my personal GitHub and AWS cloud accounts. Brad, assuming everything automated just inherently belonged to Apex Logix, never once asked me to transfer the legal ownership or host credentials of those background repositories to the corporate business account. He just assumed it was all in the cloud. The very next morning, I reached out to a rival tech firm called Nexus Systems. They were Apex Logix's fiercest competitors and had been trying to win over OmniCorp for 3 straight years without success. Within 2 days, I was sitting across from their vice president of engineering. I laid all my cards flat on the table. "I built the exact architecture that OmniCorp is currently using," I told him frankly. "I know their exact data pain points, and I can build a brand new system for Nexus that runs twice as fast, for half the licensing cost. Plus, I can start next week." The VP's eyes lit up. They recognized the gold mine sitting in front of them. They offered me a senior position on the spot with a massive 45% base salary bump and a signing bonus that made Brad's $20,000 look like absolute pocket change. I signed the contract that night. The next day, I walked into Apex Logix and handed in my standard 2-week notice. Brad didn't even blink. He just scoffed, looked up from his laptop, and smirked. "Good luck out there," he said condescendingly. "Just remember, the grass isn't always greener on the other side." He didn't bother to schedule an exit interview. He didn't ask for a single page of technical documentation. He didn't request a knowledge transfer to the junior developers. To him, engineers were just interchangeable parts. You pull one out, you slot another one in. 14 days later, Friday arrived. It was my very last day. I packed up my few personal belongings into a small box. I sat at my desk, watching the digital clock in the corner of my screen tick down. With exactly 60 seconds left on the company clock, I executed my 2-step exit strategy. First, I opened my personal GitHub account. With 2 swift clicks, I changed the access settings on the critical OmniCorp API repository from public/shared with Apex Logix to completely private. Now, to be clear, I didn't hack anything. I didn't delete a single line of Apex Logix's proprietary code. I simply packed up my personal tools, my custom configurations, and my intellectual property, and took them home with me. The system wouldn't crash instantly over the weekend, but the exact second OmniCorp's massive enterprise servers attempted to run their automated global data sync on Monday morning, the connection would fail entirely. Second, I opened LinkedIn and sent a polite, incredibly professional direct message to Sarah, the Chief Technology Officer at OmniCorp, whom I had worked with closely for months. The message read, "Hi Sarah, I just wanted to let you know that today is my official last day at Apex Logix, and I am transitioning over to the engineering team at Nexus Systems. It was an absolute pleasure building your data pipeline. Since I will no longer be personally managing the Apex Logix framework, please be advised that your custom architecture might experience severe synchronization and connection errors this coming Monday due to internal server changes. If you ever require assistance with a more stable, fully scalable enterprise solution, you know exactly where to find me." I shut my laptop screen down with a satisfying snap, handed it to the receptionist, walked out into the warm Texas air, and never looked back. Monday morning arrived. I woke up early, put on a sharp shirt, and walked into the beautiful corporate headquarters of Nexus Systems. I sat down at my spacious new desk, enjoying a steaming cup of actual, high-quality gourmet coffee, and logged into my new terminal. At exactly 9:15 a.m., my personal cell phone on the desk began to vibrate violently. It was Brad. I let it ring out. At 9:30 a.m., 3 more missed calls flashed on the screen, followed by a frantic, poorly punctuated text message. "Opie, call me back right now, it's urgent." OmniCorp's entire client dashboard is completely blank. What did you do? At 10 a.m., 5 more missed calls lit up the phone, followed by a text that completely lost all corporate composure. "Opie, this isn't funny. Corporate legal will be involved if you do not log on and fix this issue right this second." I didn't type a single letter back. I calmly tapped his contact profile, hit block number, and set my phone face down. What Brad's tech bro brain couldn't grasp was that there was nothing for his legal team to sue me over. The junior developers at Apex Logix had absolutely no idea how to reverse engineer or recreate the custom API because Brad had never allowed them the time or budget for documentation. They were blindfolded in a dark room. By 1 p.m. that afternoon, my new office desk phone at Nexus Systems rang. It was Sarah, the CTO of OmniCorp. She was absolutely furious, not with me, but with Apex Logix. She told me that Brad had spent 4 consecutive hours spinning frantic lies, blaming unexpected regional cloud outages and global internet glitches, while OmniCorp's live operations were actively hemorrhaging tens of thousands of dollars every single hour. Sarah was a brilliant tech executive. She knew a sinking ship when she saw one, and she vividly remembered my warning message from Friday night. She cut straight through the noise. "Opie," she said, her voice completely serious. "If we terminate our relationship with Apex Logix and sign an emergency contract with Nexus Systems today, how fast can you safely migrate our entire global data infrastructure to your new platform without using a single piece of Apex Logix hardware?" I smiled, taking a slow sip of my coffee. "Give me 48 hours. OmniCorp officially terminated their multi-million-dollar contract with Apex Logix that very afternoon, citing a catastrophic breach of their service level agreement. By Tuesday morning, OmniCorp signed a massive, long-term enterprise deal with Nexus Systems. Because I had single-handedly brought over the biggest client in the market, the executive board at Nexus gave me an immediate promotion within my first 30 days, along with a percentage-based commission on the total contract value. That house down payment my wife and I dreamed of, it was fully covered, and then some. As for Apex Logix, losing OmniCorp was an instantaneous, fatal blow to their cash flow. They couldn't afford the exorbitant rent on their flashy, glass downtown Austin office. Just last week, one of my former coworker friends texted me the final fallout. Brad was forced to lay off more than half of the entire engineering staff to keep the lights on. And the absolute icing on the cake? His precious, custom Porsche 911 GT3 was recently spotted listed on a local vehicle repossession website. The bank took his toys away. Brad's legal team did try to blindly bluster and threaten a lawsuit for theft of intellectual property, but the elite legal department at Nexus Systems took one single look at my onboarding paperwork, laughed out loud, and threatened a massive countersuit for harassment. Brad dropped it immediately. The moral of the story? Never underappreciate, underestimate, or exploit the quiet people who actually build the foundation of your business. If you value your company, you value the minds that keep it running. So next time, Brad, just give your engineers their damn bonuses. Because that cheap pizza? It wasn't even that good. If that ending gave you absolute chills of pure satisfaction, smash that like button right now. Leave a comment down below and tell me, what is the most legendary piece of corporate karma or workplace revenge you have ever witnessed? Don't forget to subscribe for more unbelievable stories just like this one, and we will see you in the next video.